back to Sovereign Vibrations, you guys. We have taken a hiatus and now we are back for season two.
But yeah, I think we've been slightly we needed some time out, I think, to recoup and reevaluate things and just take some breather and space with everything that's been happening over the last couple of years. And we wanted to relaunch with a fresh new idea, really, of showing everybody who we are, what we're really about, what we can give, and ultimately raising the vibrations of humanity and all sentient beings.
Yeah, I think that we're at a place now where, we're not going to lie to you, it's messed up. And but there what can we do about that? Like, and that's what we're going to talk about. Like, what can we do about what's currently going on in our global state? We're very quickly coming into a totalitarian one world government thing, and it's as easy as it's ever going to be right now to resist what's going on. It's only going to get harder the longer it goes on.
Yeah.
And that's with your health, that's with your vibration, that's with your way of life, like that's with everything.
Yeah, so the harder it gets really is upon the individual, because an individual is making it hard upon themselves. The more that they're resisting what's going on, the more that it is, it's so difficult to hide away from the truth right now. It really is difficult to hide away from what's happening and just carry on as if nothing has happened or occurred or is happening. And the more that somebody does that, I think it's just going to make it harder upon their spirit to evolve and grow, the consciousness to grow, the awakening to happen in individual, for them to recognize their sovereign self, grow within themselves as higher spirit being, higher beings, really, if you want to call it that. I think plant-based, not just plant-based eating, but plants and herbs is the way to go for
Yeah,
people
I
really to.
I recently got a thing it's called a green stalk. It's like a 7 stack uh tier planter, and it's on wheels, and I have all my green spinaches and, like, you know, whatever,
Oh yeah.
kale, like cold water spinach. Yeah, it's really cool because you can, if you have a tiny apartment, you can have it. Like, you could put it indoors, you could put it outdoors. It just kind of makes it to where it's enough to where any person could grow their winter greens. I mean, I also have some strawberries in there and like cabbage and onions, and you
Yeah.
wouldn't want to put something like tomatoes in there, but it's interesting because I really encourage people. It doesn't matter if you're like in the biggest city in the world in a small tiny apartment, or out in like acres and acres of land. You need to have some bit of growing your own food, because the other thing is that, like, it's hard. Like, this is going to be my third year growing a garden and food, and I mean, they'll end up being $30 peppers because the amount of money I've spent to get it is like real. It's very difficult. A lot of stuff dies. A lot of stuff gets like some sort of disease and
Yeah.
blight, and it's not like you can just go like, oh, one day if I ever need it, I'll just grow some plants. Well, good luck to you, because they are a learning process. Like, you have to figure out how to parent plants. I'll just tell you that.
Yeah, I did try as well over the summer, and I was so happy. I had some carrots growing, and what else? Courgettes, and my potatoes didn't grow. My there was a few that didn't grow, unfortunately. My tomatoes didn't grow, but I have the basil. Basil grew. I had mint. I had chilies, Mexican chilies. Oh, they're gorgeous. But my carrots were really lovely, and I checked them out, and I thought, right, okay, I'm just waiting now. I'm just gonna wait for when I want to do something nice with the carrots. I waited too long, and I went out. And I think in between my cat, foxes, whatever I have it in the Burning Beaches
Right.
where I live, they ate them. They finished them up, and I thought, well, I was slightly disgusted with that, but I thought, well, at least the animals ate it. There
Well,
must have been.
yeah, it's, and the stuff is crazy because, like, I have a lemon tree, and
Oh wow.
it had like 10 or 12 like late blooms, like that became little tiny baby lemons like this. And then I was like, yes, those are going to be like full-blown lemons when it comes, uh like winter. And I I started noticing they kind of like would get chunks and stuff was out of them, and then the leaves on my lemon tree were like had like it's almost like a caterpillar was eating it. And one day I walk over there and it was butterflies. Butterflies were all over my lemon tree, just having a field day, like whatever. And I mean, I mean, I was like, okay, well, there you go, butterflies. But um, I'm not gonna try to get rid of butterflies. But at the
Yeah,
same time, you
sure.
just never know. It's gonna
Yeah.
be really interesting because there are you have to kind of you think about it like the angels share, right? It's like there's going to be some amount of it that goes to nature. Like you're only get
Yeah.
if you grow whatever 10 carrots, really you're growing two for yourself, and
Yeah.
then the
Yeah.
eight are for nature.
Yeah, true. But it's true because last summer was a bit of a learning curve for me. Some of them grew, some of them didn't. So this summer again, I'm gonna have another go at this. And like you said, I'm just gonna work on it until I can really improve on growing myself. Because this is one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves to actually nurture ourselves with our own hand, homemade kind of grown plants. Because it's a lot of vibration that we put within that growth when we touching it and our intention, and that comes back to us as opposed to just eating. I mean, there is a lot of organic farms around me, which is good, but not everyone has that around them. And like you say, if you can grow it in an apartment and just start putting your own energy and intent into the foods and the herbs that you're making, grow and then consuming them and blessing
Yeah,
them, thankful of them, the energy, because it's all
life
harmony.
force.
Yeah, this is what we really all need to learn, I feel, is the harmony and the coherence of human to plants to animals to our whole existence. We don't need more than we need. Like we say, we can share our carrots and we can share the other foods and lemons, but it is really about harmony. It's if you are working for the good of the universe works for the good of you as well. So it is, this is very much about where we're at right now, how we will raise the vibrations of our family, not just human, sentient, and that is plants and animals, and we all work together, we grow together, we feed each other. This is really what it's about. This is what will detoxify the body as well. And obviously we know that there's a lot of external, and always has been external, pharmaceutical drugs. And in one hand, for a quick fix, sometimes they're good. There's a lot of synthetic and what have you out there that sometimes can help in a quick fix. I can admit that sometimes when you're in major pain, you need a certain straight pain relief. It's there, or if you've broken your arm and you need to go to hospital, and they'll sort that out. And there's a lot of things that doctors can do. But I've always spoken to, and I have some friends that are doctors as well that work for the NHS here and the hospitals here. We've always spoken about how holistic and the Western pharmaceutical world should combine, our learnings and teachings, because that's what will help the whole human. And knowing then about nutrition and plants, and also about other things holistic, that there's so many other things holistic that we do, like Reiki and spiritual healing and
Right.
vibrational healing and chakra healing, and meditation is so important now as well with the climate, in the mental state of humans right now as well, and animals, all sentient beings are, there's carnage really in emotional states as well. And just to connect those two, it would be such a lift. This is where
It would.
we should be working to.
I recently had a friend who like I hadn't talked to her in like 4 or 5 years, and her text started out to me, um, "Hey girl, haven't talked to you in a while. I'm vaccine the fucked up." Or some, I don't know, something like that. And she's like, and I'm ready to socialize again. That's what her text said to me. And I was um okay, like, so this is an interesting like kind of like a thing from the universe. So I was like, well, I'm conspiracy the fucked up, and like I'm not touching the vaccine at all or whatever, and but I'm doing good, girl. Like, how are you? Like, what are you still with that dude? And we talked about other things, and she kept on going back. She was like, why aren't you vaccinated? And I was like, and I wrote her this big dissertation about saying, like, look, I totally respect that you are, and that's your prerogative, and that's some good stuff for you, whatever. But for me, the way I see it is that we're run by a giant drug cartel that's like basically, yeah, I mean, we basically have a drug mafia that is pushing these things on everybody, and everything is about keeping you on more pharmaceuticals. The pharmaceutical industry is I mean, our Western medicine, even if you start studying it from the Rockefellers back when it was like put into place, like back like 100 years ago, if you really start looking at the origins of how Western medicine and the Medical Board of Association got started, which I highly suggest you guys do your own research on that and see what you think about that. Um, I really think we got away from, we started looking at ourselves as bags of chemicals. Like, we're just giant chemical bags, and we can manipulate everything with chemicals. And so we're looking at ourselves as synthetic cocktails of pharmaceuticals, right? Which I don't view myself like that. I know that I, even more than a bag of chemicals, am a electric box. Like, we are electric beings. So there's a whole entire just branch of our health that we completely in the Western world ignore. There's so much self healing that can happen. Your diet is a big part of your long term disease, like autoimmune type. Like, if you have diabetes, like, there's so many things that can actually be combated with diet. Whereas if you went to a Western doctor, they would just give you a concoction of pills, and then and then soon after you'd get another concoction to hide the symptoms of the other things I mean, these things hide symptoms. They don't get at root problems. And so that's cool and some stuff if you're into all that. Like, that you do you. But at the same time, I think everybody else needs to finally step into their own and say, like, that's not how I see the paradigm of the human being. And
Yeah.
when I look at that's a sick care system. I want to be in a healthcare system, and like, there's Ayurvedic, there's acupuncture, there's Reiki, like you said, there's you can do all kinds of self-healing medicines, like cleanses, you can do fastings, you can, like, there's so many things, and that's what we want to talk about. Like, what are your options exactly? Because you need to know
Yeah.
these things.
100. Yeah. I mean, the bottom line comes down to the immune system. The immune system is being compromised right now, and it's being bombarded from all angles. We have just simple stress, which is the biggest factor against the immune system, which is when the body is in a state of stress, it is open to all disease. There, it is just endless. When the body is in a state of stress, the frequency, the vibrations drop. We become vulnerable to all illnesses. So it really comes down to, and like you said, and obviously the symptoms are being dealt with by the doctors, and okay, we applaud that, because obviously sometimes you need that instant pain relief.
Mm-hmm.
But we do need to look at the body as a whole, and look at where the immunity has been compromised, what's been put into the immune system for it to be fighting as much as it should. The body is fully capable of handling itself. It's with a strong immune system. Pretty much anything that comes into an external force, an external whatever, bacteria, whatever, comes to that human being with a strong immune system, is very, very unlikely that person would be debilitated in any way, mental or physical, from that, if the immune system was strong. If the immune system is compromised with stress or something that is within the body that is now putting the body in some type of discomfort and dis-ease, then it is open and vulnerable to falling ill. And then that illness is a symptom. So the illness then comes up as a fever, perhaps because the body's now trying to raise the temperature up to get rid of something, or it might come out as mucus. So it's trying to detoxify itself. So there's many ways that the symptoms then arise in the body, but the body can still cope with it. The body can still cope, and it can still get rid of this bacteria and this illness. So we should let the body do that. Mm-hmm. But instead, what we do is we find drugs in many different shapes and forms to suppress those symptoms that the body is trying to release, to get rid of bacteria or anything that's within the body. So it no longer is able to do what it's supposed to do, what it was born to do, which was cleanse and clear, because there's always going to be tons of bacteria and tons of viruses within the body. And nobody can really tell anyone what those things do within the body until they take them out of the body. So like they'll take the cells out, right. They'll take things out of the body. But once they're out of the body, how can they tell you what they were doing when they were in the body?
Oh yeah, as soon as it hits oxygen, it's edited. Well, I mean, that's like a germ theory versus terrain theory, right? So like that's like, so we're talking. Yeah, so and first of all, just to preface like real quick what I didn't say, I do think Western medicine has some really valuable things. Like if you get in a car accident, like please help me, like yes, I mean, like I definitely think they're great with skeletal stuff, like they're great with there's a lot of things they're great with. If I get cancer, I'm going complete hippie. Like that's just, I've had people in my family who've had cancer who have gone through the Western thing. I'm not doing that. I will go Western all the way, or sorry, Eastern, like hippie. Okay, that's my personal preference. But there you go. But anyway, back to the thing with germ theory versus terrain theory is that, like, yes, like I have always kind of known that, hey, if you're running a fever, that's good. That's your body burning off infection. Like, that's not something to suppress. That's something to allow it to do that job. And say, like you said, mucus, these things, germs aren't there to hurt you. Germs are like the cleanup process that the body produces to detoxify itself. So like that's the thing is like you really ought to look closely into germ theory versus terrain theory. And like the basics of it is that germ is just a theory, whereas a lot of times people say if like Kiran was saying, if you were completely, if we both had the same situation come up, but we like, I guess the both had the external factor of some sort of, it gets kind of weird with contagion because some people don't believe in contagion, some do. Like that's where I sometimes don't know how to feel about that one way or the other.
Say bacteria, some type of bacteria.
Like let's say some bacteria comes along. If you were completely high energetic, high immune system, it's not going to problem. If it does get you, and I notice that myself, the times I get sick is when I'm run down. I'm already run down. Like I've had poor sleep. I've been super stressed. I've had something emotional go on in my life. I've, it's not like I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Hawaii tomorrow and everything's amazing. And I just came from dancing somewhere and kissed a boy or something. And I'm like, yes. And then I get sick. It's not when you're at the height of your stuff. It's like, man, I worked.
It's normally when the holidays are about to start, you're about to wind down, isn't it? And you think,
yeah.
Oh man, I'm just about to enjoy my holidays and I've just caught a cold or whatever.
Yeah, for me, it's always where it's like, oh, I worked 9 out of the last 10 days and I got poor sleep 3 days in a row, or I drank too much, or it's when I've been eating crappy. It's like I've been bad to my body and my body goes, hey, you know what we're gonna do to you.
The thing is, so very much on that German terrain theory, being a yogi, like most of my life in teaching, is what we have always believed in. It's literally the Sanskrit scriptures are saying they never believed in the modern day medicine. It's always been about your mental state and internal state creates is the manifestation that you live. So if you're feeling at a discomfort, if the body is just feeling at a dis-ease and in a stressful state, then you're likely to create a dis-ease. So you're likely to create an illness. It was never ever said in original scriptures, which is thousands of years old. So it's never been something I believed. So I've always believed in the other way, that we do attract by who and what we are. So, and it's very much about the disease and ease. And I've noticed that, and I think we spoke about this as well on one of the last podcasts as well. And I noticed that, and I still do, when your body is in a state of ease, mentally and physically, it's so difficult to fall ill because your energy is high, your body is revitalized, and the thing is to keep the vibrational high. um you know, when we say, oh, you know, to find a state of ease, I don't mean to just live a very basic life and not do anything, because I know people sometimes are very busy, and I'm a very busy person as well. I do a lot, that I'm busy doing what I love doing. And that's the difference. When people are busy doing what they don't love doing, they don't really want to be there, or be stuck in traffic, or be stuck on the train for so long, or you know, don't like the boss that they have, or you know, a companion at work, and that stresses them out, and it leaves them with a discomfort. So the work that they're busy doing isn't a something that they want to do. So this creates a disease, this creates a discomfort within the body, and then it manifests. And this has always been a yogic belief as well, which is something that's the oldest health system in the world. So it's something that's very, very important for myself, and you know, for anyone that's got that spiritual awareness. That awareness, present state of awareness, is very important. And also, I think in the deep scriptures, we've also spoken about as well. And I think the more and more I've been evolving and growing in my learning as well, in the books I've written, and I am now nearly finishing my third book, Nikki, so I'll let you know. So I've nearly finished, so I will let you have that first copy, and I will be releasing that. This is very much about my growing as a modern day yogi philosopher almost, my mind, thoughts, and how I've understood yoga, but also the whole spiritual side of it. That even, for example, there is an illness in front of us, a disease, somebody wants to call it, and there's two people here. That disease could affect those two people very, very different, because of perceptions, immunity, state of mind, someone happy, someone sad, someone stressed, someone not stressed, someone's perspective and the other person's perspective. So both of them catching this bacteria, or this whatever it could be, that person may feel ill because they believe that bacteria to make them ill, because someone has told them, whether it's the news, the media, peers, parents, after they've, you know, once they've grown up, parents tell them this and this happens. This person doesn't believe that because they didn't listen to that. They actually believed this, and that bacterium does not make them ill. So it's much bigger than even what we're talking about right now. There's the five sense reality, that matrix that we've all grown in and been conditioned to believe, and our peers and parents and teachers, and you know, the education system, the media, everybody's told us that this is what happens when you get this, or this is what happens to you when you're at this age, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. And but above that five sense reality, there's other perceptions, there's other realities. And when we raise our awareness, this is so why it's so important to have that present state of awareness in your life at times, which can be meditation, just that space to raise your vibration, because then you enter a realm of all realities, of infinite possibilities, where those possibilities may not exist in your life. You become the creator, and you ending up co-creating your life, as opposed to their creating this five sense reality, creating your life and telling you what it should be. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And then that also kind of goes into you know, I really am big now into words or spells. I recently read this like Florence Shin lady, which was pretty interesting. She had some really, she was like law of attraction before law of attraction stuff, like back in, even though all of that really is from really old scriptures and Sanskrit, like really, like you are creating your own reality. And so but I really like the way she talked about how like your subconscious is energy. It's just pure unadulterated energy. And then your consciousness, where you are right now, is like that's the direction, like that's the pointer of where the direction of this energy is going to go. And then the super consciousness is what she called it. Would be like your divine plan, or like like your higher self. She's like, if you can get all three in line together, pointed in the right direction, you can create whatever reality you want. And like I definitely believe you can do that with your health. I definitely believe you can do that with all kinds of amazing stuff. And like, you know, I have a really cool manifestation story that happened to me like this like a couple days ago. Okay. It's not to do with, well, it's kind of to do with health in that. Okay. I was I was staying in Columbus, Ohio, okay? And it was like 4 p.m. We were going back to the airport. I hadn't eaten yet at all that day because I didn't leave my hotel room because I slept in whatever. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so hungry." And I was like, "I want this there what I wanted was this specific vending machine that's called Farmer's Fridge, and it's like a health food. They make it fresh every day and they put it in these jars. And I wanted my pesto pasta and I wanted my chia pudding. And it's like a vegan thing. They don't
Yeah.
have that in Columbus, Ohio. They only have this vending machine in Chicago. I wasn't going to Chicago. I was in Columbus and I was going to Miami. So I was like, ugh, that's not what I want. What I want is, and like I smelt it and I felt it and I tasted it and I was like, oh, I just want that. And I don't know why I was doing it, but I was like, yeah, no, I want my pesto pasta and I want my chia pudding. I kid you not. I turn a corner and I have 3 minutes before I'm going to be late for my plane. Like I don't have time to stop and wait in line anywhere. What do I see when I turn a corner? In Columbus, Ohio is one of these vending machines. And I was like, oh, there's a Farmer's Fridge. Okay, I walk up to the vending machine. You couldn't have made this up. Guess what's in there? There's two things. There's only two. Like this thing
Oh, really?
had only had the pesto pasta and it only had the chia pudding.
Oh,
Everything else was completely sold out. And there was only one pesto pasta left and one chia pudding left. I put my credit card in. Boop 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 boop. Boom. I got my stuff and I walked onto my plane and I was like, must be the money. And I know it was crazy and it's a very little dumb thing, but it was so
100%. I'm with you.
specific. I can't say that word. It was so just exactly what I wanted, exactly when I wanted it, that I was like, I created that. And
Yeah.
even if I'm crazy, I created it.
I have to say, actually, because I mean, obviously, just before we started recording today, I think we were talking about how I've not been able to feel anything, you know, and I really tune into future quite a bit and past resonations, and I just feel things, and that's how I know what's happening, or somebody's energy. And I was saying I can't really feel anything at the moment. It's like something's been rewritten, something's been changed.
Mm-hmm.
But I have noticed, I mean, I've always been doing this, but I have noticed even more now. I feel I'm just more present. I'm more present and I'm more aware. And whether the situation over the last couple of years has made that happen, I don't know. But I'm just so present and aware that I'm feeling like what I'm seeing. Manifestations happen very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. So if I need something, honestly, it's within the day. I'm thinking about, I mean, obviously I'm not saying, you know, you
Yep.
manifest £1 just like that. Some things probably take a bit longer, or maybe they don't, you know. I suppose it depends on the intention and the strength of that, you know, the visualization and the feeling of it. And I suppose it's more difficult to feel and really feel like you have something that is so big as opposed to something that's small, and just simple
Right.
things that I've needed and I've not been able to find. I've just visualized them in my head, and I just say one thing. I say, I know I'm going to get it. I know it's going to happen. I know I'm going to find it. Or if I'm waiting for someone to contact me about something, I know they'll call, or I know this is going to happen. Or if I'm trying to sell something, I know it will sell. I have absolutely no
Yeah.
doubt
Yeah.
that it's going to sell within the next couple of days. I don't know who's going to buy it, or whatever. There's these type of things, you know. But this is very true about being present and being here, and I mean, I suppose it's not really having to sit and meditate all day, but it's just being in the present state of awareness, just having that time to just stop and listen, and immediately being in the present state. So you're already just in that present state and you're listening. Your five sense reality, in fact, actually, that we've been put into, whether we've been put into on purpose or whether we're
Or
born into
chose,
it,
who knows? Yeah.
chose, or whatever this five sense reality is supposed to do, it is actually a gateway to the higher vibration, because the five sense reality of listening and feeling and seeing is what will take us through into the state of all manifestations, of all possibilities. And this is why going through that state, bam, you're able to manifest something so quickly. So yeah, I do feel that this is what's been going on. And like I said, I'm not
And
quite
that's
sure.
been prophesized, or that's been sort of, or I don't know if prophesized is the right word, but a lot of people have talked about like how as our vibrations get higher, manifestation will be quicker. Like that's something that's people have kind of talked about. So I can definitely see that. But and to your point about being in the present state is I definitely have sometime within the last couple of years come to the conclusion that hey, this isn't going to be forever. Like this incarnation is not going to be forever. But what's really unique about being incarnated in the human body versus being in the dream state at night is the tactileness, like the feeling of stuff, just like it's just so wonderful to have smells and like the feeling of wind on your skin and the feeling of, and you don't like, you can feel fabrics, you can feel cold, you can feel hot, you can feel temperatures, you can feel textures. You don't have to be a millionaire, you don't have to be like, you know, whatever in the absolute worst chance it, like in the end of the day, get your get the sensory experience of being this human, because that's not going to be forever. And it's really fun when you really start thinking about all the different tastes you can have and smells and all the different visuals you can. I mean, it's just this is a full experience. It's a full immersion experience thing, being in whatever these five senses are, and get the most out of them. I know so many people get into routines and they don't, and I'm not saying you have to go journey off to across the world every day. Like that's kind of becoming a non-reality for most of the world right now. But like just do something, like figure out, even if it's just anything different, new all the time, every day, just feel some, experience something little different. Just it's good for you. I think it helps raise things.
Oh, 100%, yeah. And it takes you out of the vibration, actually, just to do something different, something with the senses, but truly with the senses, listening and feeling and looking and heart, and obviously opening your heart. So that's very, very important when we in present state of awareness, that you're connected through the heart, because the heart knows, and the heart is the higher vibration, as opposed to when you're doing something and you're thinking about it, and you're thinking, because the illusions of the mind will prop in, and then everything becomes a bit of a task and a chore, and then you're thinking about, oh, actually, am I doing this right, am I doing that right? If you just follow your heart, connect to your heart, connect to the heart vibration, know that the heart knows what needs to be done, and the heart knows what's right. Do what you feel your heart would do about things. The heart is the one that's connected to the creator, so you automatically become a creator, a co-creator. If we do things through the heart and be aware and present at the same time, it's a completely different level. It's a higher vibrational level, most definitely.
Love it.
But yeah, so we really wanted to just highlight and just focus, before we really went one bang into our podcast series this time, how important it is to tune in to our present state, find ways to raise our vibration by organic ways, accepting, embracing everything in our life, because everything in our life is still our life. It's still all knowing, all powerful, God consciousness, whatever we want to believe or how we believe. But just finding ways that we feel lifted, and if we're in places, if we're in situations or around people that make us feel discomfort, you can feel it within your body when you don't feel right. You can feel after you've eaten so much of a particular food that you may not be feeling too right, so you want to detox the next day. So it's really about tuning into your body now, really, really tuning into your body, and closing your eyes and listening and feeling and going through the five senses into the heart, and feeling, does my body feel right about this situation, about this food, about this person, about this drug, about this narrative, about
Right.
about the way they've treated this person, how this person's been treated. Okay, I don't agree with this individual here, but would I want my family to be treated like that if they didn't agree with the same thing that I'm agreeing with? There's a lot of things that people need to think about here, because at the end of the day, we're all one consciousness, even though we're unique sovereign beings, and we're all living our unique path, which will all grow and evolve and then become this ocean. So we still need to live our unique path, but we're still one consciousness. And what hurts one hurts the other, and what hurts them hurts us. And you know, I know there's a, we're not going to talk too much about it, but there is, you know, there's been some celebrities out there, big names that have had been, they've had a lot of, what should we say, slack, how would we call it, from the media about having certain beliefs and views. And at the end of the day, these celebrities, whether they're world-class athletes and what have you, are still human beings. They're still our sentient beings, and we all have a right of expression, of freedom, you know, to feel and think how we feel and think. No one can impose that upon anybody else. Nobody has the right to impose anything on anybody else. You know, if someone's not intentionally going out there to physically hurt someone, to go out there and physically hurt someone,
exactly.
You know, if something isn't as clear cut and hasn't been described, you know, as the situation we're in right now, it's not as clear cut. And I think people have to really be careful of how they judge others. No one has the right to judge anyone. And this was written back in the Gospels as well, you know, it's in many
I mean, and it's like I like that's been a big lesson for me in the last during this whole pandemic stuff, because I've not bought the mainstream media narrative about it, and you know, a lot of my family members have, and a lot of my really good friends have, and there has been, like, not even from me, it's mainly like there's been splitting of ways, you know. It's been like, well, then we can't be friends anymore, and that's really a shame. It shouldn't be like that, you know. It's like I feel like the division of society right now is trying to be intentionally, there's an agenda to the division, I'll just put it that way. And we cannot forget our compassion, we cannot forget our, you know, like you said, we are all one kind of being, you know. We are an organism that is collective, and if we are, what you do to one, you do to yourself too. So it's been an interesting time, and it's definitely, I've been super judgy at some points, and I've had to come full back around, hard look in the face, be like, you don't know really what's anything, but I mean, you can only know what you know for yourself. And then after that, I'm gonna have to just allow, give people the respect and allow them to have their own discernment and their own sovereignty and make their own decisions, and that's what they do, and that's cool. So that has been a definite 2020 2021 lesson for the old Nikki Boo here.
I'm definitely and I think with what I do as well, being a yogi and being a teacher and a spiritualist and working with all my clients as well, and I love my clients, you know, I love them to bits, and I love all the people I work with, and I know everybody has their own opinion and views, and it's been a blessing that everyone's respected me for who I am and what I do. At the end of the day, I'm a spiritualist, I'm a yogi, I'm a nutritionist, you know, and I believe in the Sanskrit scriptures that I've always taught, and it's even evolved in my own learning and my own teachings, and now my own books that I'm writing. So, and I'll always be true to who I am and what I've learned and what I'm teaching. And I think everybody should find that. Everybody should find that path, you know, find their sovereignty and find their truth. And I do feel good in the sense that this chapter in everybody's life, and it's still ongoing at the moment, is giving so many droplets in this ocean the opportunity to be sovereign and to find their true voice, and speak for who they are, because before this they were following the narrative and there was no way out of it. They never had that shake up or the wake up call that could make them step back and think, actually, you know, all this time I just didn't feel right and something wasn't right, and I felt I was living a lie, and I didn't feel who I was being who I am. And when that person becomes their sovereign true self and speaks their sovereign true self, that is when the vibrations lift.
Yeah.
That is when they start rising. That is when they really start seeing and can, and things will just flow. That's when the flow comes as well. Otherwise, there's always, if someone is living a lie, and it may not be intentional, there's always obstacles because they're never on their true purpose. They're never following their true purpose. They're never on that true path. And once that's removed and they're finally them and true to who they are, it just flows. And it may not be all, butter and cream. It's not there for the flow. There may be a lot for them to do, but that may be their purpose. They may have been here as warriors. They may be here as strong leaders, and they may have always wanted to, will be becoming followers because they were following a narrative, but maybe they were supposed to be leaders within a particular part in that, in this world.
And part of that for me, I feel like what is actually, I was thinking about this yesterday, was that I've noticed just the narratives. There are so many different stories from so many different sides, and you cannot find two people that have the exact same opinions on anything at this point. So it's become a place where we don't really have strong leadership at all in the world. Definitely, we don't have strong government leadership. And with that in mind, I feel like people who are used to just ostriching it, just head down, just go with the flow, there's not really a one flow to go with, that, because there's some things that are, the mainstream is so off on so many crazy things. Like they're promoting shame and hate. Like that's like in most people's guts is like, wait, what? No, but where do I go? And this fragmentation, I think, could be by design. There could be some positive, like, silver lining to this, and that it is, like you said, an opportunity for people to find their own sovereignty, because you end of the day, you need to connect with that gut instinct that you have to know whether something is true or not for you, or whether or not you believe in that or not. Because I bet you if there's like a trusted family member, a trusted friend, whatever, no two people you're gonna know are gonna have the exact same opinion about each individual thing. So you are going to have to do your own research for once in your life. You really are going to have to do your own research and tap into what is your truth. Like, what feels true within what you're reading. Like, you got to learn how to figure out that meter within yourself. Like, okay, do I like the data from this study, or do I like the data from this study? Because there's going to be both put in your face.
So
yeah, it's interesting.
Definitely. And the sovereign self also is very much about doing what you love doing as well, finding that unique self and finding what you love doing. And that is the difference between, what I feel anyway, being here and feeling alive or dead, because you when you find your true purpose and your sovereign self, and you no longer are afraid of because the media will always try, not just the media, but society it has a way that is been perceived to be the way. And when someone is not on that conveyor belt, comes off and tries to do it their way, then there's something wrong with them. That they're not, there's something wrong with them. They're not following the whole, story of what is considered a perfect family or a successful individual. But when that person is doing what they love doing, and really feeling the happiness and joy within that, that's when they're alive. That's when they're really, really alive. Otherwise, they're living a life here in this 5 sense reality, and they pretty much may as well be dead, because that's what
it's a life half lived, when you're living someone else's life.
Exactly. And that is also what will break eventually the body, because it will be a discomfort all its life. There'll always be living, trying to be something else, trying to live, be an individual, trying to copy someone else's life before them and so on and so on. This robotic, unfortunately, a lot of the education system is still like that. Although, I know a lot of the private schools have been able to offer more, which is great. You know, unfortunately, not all the state schools have, but I know some private schools have been able to give more to children now that that help them come off this robotic conveyor belt. But you know, otherwise, people have just been educated to be a certain
Yeah,
way, and
it's a compliance factory, it's teaching you,
yeah.
yeah, it's teaching you
Once
to.
they find that sovereign self from the start, that's when they're really living. That's when they're living, and you know, it's
And
taking
if you
this.
don't know what you like, I find that I have so many friends who are like, I don't really know what I like, or I don't really know what my passion is, or I don't really know. It's like that's an exercise you work on.
Yeah.
That then it's like I know what I like. Like I love my rocks. I love digging for rocks. I love going on adventures. I love looking into history. I mean, like I'm a talker. I like researching stuff. I know what makes me tick. I know what like turns my ah. So, but you have to do, but I've done a lot of things. And if you want to know, like, I have a friend who became a ballerina at 34. She just, and like, went into it every single day. Like, you don't, like, you try something until you find something that really, when you're doing it, you can't think of anything else and you love it and it just lights you up. Like, you find your joy. What brings you joy, that's your thing. And it doesn't matter if it's like, if it really is as like if it is football, you really love football, or you really love reality TV shows or something. I don't know. Go make a blog about them. Go make a podcast about those things. Like, go geek out about it. Like, do like whatever it is. Like, just I'm not. There's no judgment on the thing that is that you have joy about. There's no whatever your thing is your thing, but
Mm.
just go embrace something that is uniquely you. That's
Mm.
and you to find that you have to keep trying and stuff.
100%, yeah. And that is the freedom. That is the freedom, because it will make you feel free. It will make you feel like, wow, you know, I'm really loving what I'm doing now, and you just end up in a different state because you're doing what you absolutely love. And yeah, you can find, you know, it is a matter of just, I mean, for me, I do so many things, and I always have. you know, I love so many things, and I do so many things, and I just enjoy doing it, and I do it, and that's why. And my son's very much the same now. He's probably got a little bit from me, but he's very much the same, and he does a lot as well. And we live and love life, and that's the thing. You know, we embrace our present state, um, and we do our best. I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy to say this, but you know, we do our best to embrace our present state and not be attached to the illusions of the mind, past and future, because we know a lot of these illusions and thoughts are not ours. They have been given to us. Their society, their media, their papers, and not even that. We're living in a matrix. If we remember, there's an energy field
Oh,
going on
Maya.
here. There's energy happening, and even if someone is not telling you something, you can still feel that same thought in the energy field that you're in. That is, it's like the monkey syndrome. You know, you can still feel what somebody's saying, and you follow it because it's in the energy that we're in. Until we get out of this matrix, we're going to be consumed by this perspective and this society's way of thinking all the time. This is why we need to raise our vibration out of it, because we will always be bombarded by this frequency that we're in. There's no way of getting out of it unless we raise the vibration. um you know, we'll always be believing something when we thought, well, how can we believe this? We just grew up and we believed this. Some of it was told to us, but some of it we were told is the way it is how our body is, and this is how we're supposed to be, and this is what's going to happen when we get this age and this age and this age, and we can't do this,
Right.
we can't do this, because this is what this energy field, this frequency is telling us. But once we get out of this vibration, once we raise our vibration, this energy and frequency doesn't have that grasp on us anymore. And we're no longer physical beings, just physical beings, ready to die when the time is up. We then are spiritual beings. Physicality comes afterwards. We are spiritual beings, and we're able to manifest and touch much more, and limited possibilities exist, because we can only have a certain amount of possibility in this five sense reality, but above this is unlimited. And some people can get there. They do, and leave this, exit this state, and some miraculous things that they would say in this dimension have occurred because they have left this frequency. But all of us are able and capable of doing it, and it has been blocked. And this is what ultimately we want to do, with whether we go for through many different paths, whether we go for organic eating and herbs, and and hopefully we'll have Shannon on at some point where she can talk more about the herbs as well. And even I want to get more into that as well myself. And then we'll have other therapists as well that can tell us different holistic ways and spiritual ways that we can raise, but also detoxify. And also there is drugs out there that can help with detoxifying if they're used correctly as well. But again, you can't just pick up a drug and just expect it to work without knowing how it works, the background and what it does. But there's many plant medicines as well that do this. But again, we need to work with people that are very have studied on this, for a long time, to have a lot of expertise behind it. We can't just pick up, I wouldn't go and do something in Brazil or Peru and I didn't have a clue what all that I wanted to do. Like we were talking about at one point.
Yes. Well, I have been there and done that, but and that's cool. But yeah, but there is just even just crazy things. Like I was reading about distilled water, and I always remember hearing like, oh, distilled water is bad, like you can't drink it, it'll take all the minerals out of your body. But then I was reading that actually it's pure, so what it does do is takes out the heavy metals out of your body, so it's actually like a really good detox and something you could do. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should look into that. There's and then I start thinking, I question everything, like, well, like they said that was bad for us, but then they also say a lot of stuff is bad for us that's not. So
yeah, exactly. You're told what's bad for you, you're told what's good for you. I think you really have to just ultimately trust your intuition on this one and feel what's bad for you and feel what's good for you. Feel how your body's feeling. I mean, this is a lot with kinesiology. You can kind of pick up something and see how your muscles react to something. And this is what's good about homeopathy as well, because they can also look at that. This is why holistic therapies are so valuable, because
you could do muscle testings and
muscle testing, and there's many ways that you can find out how something reacts. And same as we're going into plants and herbs. There's some things that may suit an individual where other things may not. Some things may suit, obviously we have combinations of plants and foods as well, so some things don't work together where some things don't do. And again, people have different lifestyles, so the metabolism is working a bit different. The digestive system is working different for someone that's working from 9 to 5 and they're at home all day at the office, and if someone's out there like me, training and teaching and physically out there, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day doing sessions, and it's a whole different need, food need, nutritional need, and and all sports and athletes know that. So again, it really is about intuitively knowing, and also there is many experts in that field as well that can help us know what we need for the particular job that we do as well. So there's so much more for people to learn, and not just go wham to the drug, but there's so much more that can help as well as that, if that can help as well.
Yeah. All right, Miss Kiran. Well, this was awesome. This is
I enjoyed this.
This is a good revamp.
A good revamp, yeah, definitely. It was good to get back into it. So we will, I think maybe once every 3 weeks or once a month. We'll see how we can get
either twice a month or once a month we're gonna produce something, and we're just gonna keep it going. So if you have any comments or any questions, anything you want to let us know.
Yeah, we'll get some every time. We'll do a few subjects, and we'll get some meditations on here as well. I'll get my links on my books on here as well, so people can start looking at them if they would like to. And we'll get these on all the platforms that we can, not all the mainstream platforms, but we will do as many platforms as we can. And all being well, we will build our tribe.
Yes, that would be ideal. Awesome. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.